Hello, and welcome to another episode of TDB.
Hello. Featuring Kermit the Frog and a doofus.
A doofus?
That's me. Hello. Dude, we've been doing something like this for way too long. Be it replay commentaries or
Yeah. How old were we when we did the replay?
Like 13, 14 maybe.
Okay.
Old enough to not be like we ever had a chance with girls. I knew that for sure.
Fair.
Yeah, I was like, that's never happening. And now look at us. We have children. Ugh.
I know.
Yeah.
We've been excised. We've been kicked out of our TDB.
Very true.
We've been moved down on the pecking order.
I know. All right, we're drinking tea on this episode of TDB.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
We're doing some old stuff. We are doing in 1985 8592
Wow.
ripe tea from Menghai Tea Factory.
Older than
This
me.
one's from Yeon. So yeah, gonna give this a rinse. And
Yes.
yeah, tune in to our Patreon content for the only rinse. Sorry. Where we will drink this rinse.
Even the packaging smells old and gross. You know it's good.
Yeah, so this vendor, of course, Hong Kong, we had some of their tea, their less expensive tea, on the episode with the Chinese barbecue just a couple weeks ago. Take a smell of this.
Will do. In last episode, I mentioned that there's this kind of strangeness about pu'ers that young pu'ers intended to be drank quickly are some of the most approachable ones, and then these tend to be the second most approachable kind of. They're so soft. All of the intensity, all of the bitterness rather, has really aged out.
Yeah.
And the profile is just so different. So this would be a cool contrast. I mean, and to your point, we talked about last episode about where would you put something like this. Well, certainly, I guess it's actually. We'll have a couple sips and then we'll see. But I'd be curious to hear what you would say to that.
Yeah, I don't know. In some ways, this thing actually could be kind of maybe at the beginning or the end.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I would do
Totally.
it. Kind of depends on like how you want to thematically approach your session.
Yeah, absolutely. Because those intense abrasive flavors that you might want to save until the end because they can overpower your palate, you're not going to get something like this here. But there's going to be a lot of depth. It's a special tea. It's certainly not going to be the cheapest tea that you're going to bring to a session.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm curious.
And in some ways, this sort of thing is nice to kind of cut through the early flavors. So, like, you could have this tea immediately after, like, well, not immediately, but a little bit after, like, a meal or something like that, and just use it to kind of, mellow you out.
Yeah. Pitch black leaves in there.
Yeah, as we'd expect.
Definitely. Beautiful. Let's see if I can figure this out. Nope. There we go.
Cheerio.
Cheerio.
Pip, pip.
Pip, pip. Down the hatch. Other stuff. It's too bad this is so expensive. It's so pleasant. It's so sweet.
Yeah.
It's so comfortable.
I mean, a tea like this is definitely one of the pricier options there. But I think you can find, in my opinion, somewhat comparable stuff for a fair bit less money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just such a lovely, balanced, sweet, pleasant profile. And really so different from what people would kind of typically think of tea. At least, well, this one is actually very sweet. Oftentimes, like kind of the garden patch flavors,
Right.
that people can be like, oh, weird, but yet very sweet.
Yeah. And we live in, like, kind of a world where it's like this very sweet is the very garden patch variety of sweet.
Right.
It's not like the super sugary. It's not like eating a piece of cake or something like that.
Oh, man.
Very refreshing. I mean, honestly, like, kind of to your point, I think you could have this. We could have had this tea first, or we could have it last too.
Such easy drinking. So nice. Lovely, sweet aftertaste. Maybe a little bit of hints of fruit. More fruit than I would expect. Oftentimes you can kind of have that like sweet tomato
Sure.
flavor. This has a little bit more high fruit notes. Yeah, really lovely. And yeah, 39 years old.
Yeah,
So,
very old. Yeah.
Well, give me more. Damn it.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Mom test?
Probably depends on the mom, but I'd say generally no. Probably
Yeah.
not, just because the flavors are so foreign.
Yeah.
It is so smooth, though. I mean,
I could kind of see it going both ways.
okay. What about your mom? Would your mom like this?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your dad?
Maybe.
Really? Okay.
That's what I mean by, my dad is kind of actually the mom test, honestly. Because my mom likes weird stuff.
Sort of like us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice, much darker. We'll see if that translates in the flavors. I would expect just deeper.
Yep.
Not necessarily more bitter. Or anything like that.
You're not. This is not the pu'er where you're teetering on bitterness, really.
Yeah.
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 The mistake you would make on this tea is going too light, if anything.
Right.
So.
Nice, beautiful amber.
Yeah.
Nice, thick, viscous. You can just kind of see the liqueur moving and running a little bit. Oh. Weird. I just thought of the color yellow. I don't know why. Brains are strange. Anyway, yeah.
Yellow.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know what that means. Doesn't really mean anything. But so sweet. Much more of the woody bark notes now.
Do you find this to be like swampy at all, or like kind of muddy? No. Okay.
Not really. No. Just trying to think about it now. No, not really. Some of these can have a bit of a mushroomy thing. But,
Yeah. This one less so, I'd say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not even really.
This one probably saw some pretty dank storage back in the day, but I think it's been so far removed from that it in the end it feels pretty very clean, actually.
Yeah, totally. Oh, just
Really, really smooth. I'm getting a little bit of vanilla notes on it and things like that.
yeah, totally. A little bit of that intersection to ripe that for folks who haven't had teas like this, you'll know the sort of flavors, but it's just so different.
This also actually is a ripe.
Oh
yeah, we're in that zone where ripe. Like if this was traditionally stored raw, it'd probably bring similar color. Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. God, it's so good. Yeah, interesting. Because the first I wouldn't have guessed based on the first steeping, but certainly now much more intersection there.
Yeah.
I think that steeping probably not for the mom test.
Oh yeah.
But I think the first one.
I like it personally a lot more on the second steeping.
For sure, me too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, now a bit of mineral-y vibe, dark wood flavors.
Yeah, and just look at the color.
Yeah, beautiful, so smooth. Ultralight test. What would you think? I'm curious.
I think it passed the ultralight test.
Yeah.
It just seems like too tasty and too thematically appropriate.
It's like impossible to brew wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the thing too.
Yeah, exactly.
You can just let it. It's just gonna get better.
Yeah. Is
soupier.
Is it the ideal use for a somewhat rarer tea?
Absolutely not.
Maybe not. Yeah, but you could find something comparable in terms of flavor profile that probably would be pretty good.
Okay, so if you had to drink 3 teas, let's call it 5 teas. You had a white tea, a Jade Oolong, this, kind of your run of the mill 5-year-old ripe, and then something much more abrasive, a young raw. Something like that.
Sure.
How would you think you would do the lineup?
So we got a white, a Jade Oolong.
Yeah.
And then what are the other ones?
Like a 5-year age ripe, just like your classic kind of
okay,
high quality ripe. Like a Oolong or something.
Okay,
intense.
So a stronger raw.
And then this.
That's a good question. You might want to start on. To be honest, I mean, when you're doing a 5 tea session, you might be tempted to put the moneymaker tea at the end, but sometimes you're just tea fatigued by the end.
Yeah.
So I might actually start off with this, and then I might go the white, and then the Jade Oolong, and then the ripe, either the ripe or the Boulong.
Yeah.
And those two would be, you could flip-flop on fourth or fifth.
I think I would put this early on too. I probably would start with the ripe, get the J. Oolong, have the Boulong, and then finish with the white. Because I really like the deep contrast in flavor profile. And I also just think, I don't know, this isn't a dig on white tea, but it's like harder to find really high quality white tea. So sometimes something that's just a bit more of a palate cleanser kind of at the end.
Interesting.
Kind of would be fun.
Yeah, generally speaking, my instincts on that is to go light to dark.
For sure.
So that makes sense. I wouldn't think about that, but yeah, white can make sense as sort of like a nice palate cleanser.
Yeah,
too.
basically just like the, clean, cool towel at the end of the meal for your like super fancy.
Having something like that fennel snack at the end of Indian food or
totally,
something.
yeah. I'm reminded of those videos where it's like the dude who's never been to a nice restaurant who eats like the unmoistened towelette. And they're like, that's a towel, dude. Like, you're eating a towel. That's not a mint. Anyway,
yeah.
Oh, so
that's usually white tea. I like this last steep actually. I think I like it the more intense it's getting. It tastes to me a lot like I don't know, like old Chinese furniture or something like that.
Yeah, totally.
I initially had this on my own, and I was frankly a little disappointed with it just because it's not quite so show-stopping, but having it, just go to show you that context is important. Like having it with the right person or whatever can make kind of the world of difference in terms of just the appreciation.
Yeah, to your point, I was hanging out with my friend John in his like really old, dusty, broken down warehouse, like maybe breaking codes in Cincinnati. And I brought I'm totally blanking on the tea now. That tea that I grabbed that was really cedary, but we drank it in there and it was just like fine. And I was like, huh. And he's like, yeah, I can't even like really taste the cedar. And I'm like, man, I started gaslighting myself, right? And I'm like, man, did I make this up or whatever? And then I was like, you know what, whatever. I'm going to revisit this. We drank it at his house later. And the cedar was totally there. So there's like literally interfering smell compounds. And if you get kind of accustomed to the smells happening in your environment, you kind of can like tune them out neurologically.
Also shows you that there's power in having the same thing at the same time places, but mixing it up is also important. Like shake up yourself out of your context because it's fun not to have tea always in like a vacuum or whatnot. Yeah. You should have it with other people. Having tea with other people is just fun. I mean, it's a nice thing to do. Whether that person is into tea or not. I mean, obviously, there are certain things that having someone into tea brings to a session. Yeah. I'm usually a pretty generous person, but oftentimes I'm like, yeah, so we're drinking tea now. Shut up and drink this with me. Like, I know you don't want to do this, but I don't care. We're doing this. And fine, whatever. Like, what is this like? It's tea like. As long as you know they're not like tied up like hostile or something.
No. No.
It's like your torture devices. It's like a bunch of like hammers and sickles, and then there's just like a golf set. We're having tea now, boy.
No. Look how dark that is. Oh my god. Yeah. How much leaf are you using? How would you kind of estimate that roughly?
It's about 7 grams or so. I did measure it out just because it is a bit of a rare tea. So. Just wanted to use enough, and you can see I'm brewing it fairly casually in terms of how I feel like this is a tea where you want it to be kind of on the strong side of things.
Absolutely, and maybe hard to see, but the liqueur is just dark, really deep auburn, beautiful, and like this, I'm really enjoying the residual flavor. A lot more of the mineral for me, lasting, just like a nice viscous coating in the mouth too. Just really pleasant. Yeah, sit here and enjoy it. Cheers.
Cheerio. Yeah, pretty consistent now. Steep in, steep out. Pretty similar to the last steep. Yeah. And how long would you expect this to go for?
Something like this. Like very strong steepings up to 10.
Okay.
I mean, that would be my guess. And then coming back to it and then being able to pursue another 4.
Okay.
Realistically.
Sure.
And for something special like this, I would take a break from it, walk away, have some
I think so, yeah.
water, go and do an exercise, whatever, do some work, and then come back to it.
Yeah. Even if it's like the next day, I think.
Yeah. Seriously. Absolutely. Because look, something like this, it is a special thing. It is great to enjoy with friends. Certainly, you can have like a very thoughtful session by yourself too. So, but yeah, really good. And I mean, how often are you drinking tea that's almost 40 years old?
Presumably not very often for most people. Mm-hmm. I mean, certainly not for us, even though we get access to a lot of tea.
So nice, so sweet, and it's just. The sweetness is such an uncommon sweetness. That's what's so cool about this kind of a thing. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, a very, very natural. Such sweetness. Do you want one more?
Yeah.
Okay. We're doing it, yeah.
I'm working hard for this. Getting hyped.
Yeah. Although a tea like this, it's hard to get, like... You're not going to get hyped in the same way that, like, a super young raw...
That's true. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's not. This one isn't exciting in the crispness and,
or even complexity.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it has.
I think it's dynamic
notes, but it's like not like it's like 27 different flavors on the flavor diagram going on.
Yeah, I agree with that. But it's like the perfect harmony. You know, I mean, that's why I think teas like this are so wonderful. But yeah, I think. Certainly, it still has caffeine in it, right? I mean, certainly, it's still going to get us a little bit jittery and going. But it is interesting. Yeah, I mean, young, raw, green, bitter. For whatever reason, after those teas, I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, those ones I almost feel like I have to work it out. Like a tea like this, it's more workout optional.
Yeah, less likely to turn you into Jack Nicholson. See? Yes. I can't do Jack Nicholson.
There's another April Fool's idea.
Oh, my God. April Fool's The Shining.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Anyway.
What would you call it? I don't even know. The Shining.
The Clanking.
Yeah, I don't know. Got to come up with the name.
Right, comment below for the algorithm.
I'm also trying to think what you could replace the axe with. I was like thinking kettle, just like sawn through a door. Not sure. We need to workshop that one.
We're going to workshop that with Stewie.
Yeah. Yes. Stewie!
Oh, man. So good. So viscous still. I mean, just kind of moving it around in the cup and stuff. I feel like that's one thing about ripes that is really reliable. And what's cool is that you can... I would sort of expect some of that to potentially be aged out of these teas. But not something like this. It's just... Yeah, so thick and lovely.
Cheerio.
Cheerio. This continues to be so sweet. Oh, man. So this tea is like the exquisite, high-end Ferrari of the lunch tea that we had.
Yeah, interesting way to put it, but yeah, I mean, it is kind of the same genre. It's just much older and, better quality and whatnot.
Thicker, deeper, more flavor going on.
Yeah, I mean, same vendor, in fact.
Yeah.
Eon. So it kind of shows you the range. You can go high-end, or you can buy something like very workmanlike, very functional, which you should. Which you can drink all this.
Yeah. And I'd say that given how much tea we drink on these episodes, it's rare for me to want to drink we drink really good tea on this show. And it's rare for me to want to drink 7-8 cups.
Yeah.
But something like this, I could just drink 20. And it would alter my state somewhat, but not too much. To your point.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if they feel the same when they're strapped to your hostel table and you're force-feeding them scoop number 20.
No,
not another bulldog. No, so bitter.
Yeah. They're sort of probably puking. Yeah. Oh my God. Can people buy this?
As last time I checked, yes, you can. So you can go ahead and buy a small sample. I forget what size this was. But yeah, it's an 8592, just the ripe Menghai Tea Factory from Eon. Yeah, I mean, in general recommend checking out a lot of different teas from Beyond. You don't necessarily need to aim this high, but it is interesting to try nonetheless.
So good. If
Yeah.
you're a tea drinker, you're nerding out, and you have a little bit of extra money to spend on something kind of special, this is definitely something I would recommend. It fits the bill entirely. And it's a profile that, if you never had an old pu'er in general, let alone an old rye pu'er, give it a shot. This is like the perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. What do we say at the end? Wu-Tang. See you later.
Yeah, shout out to the
Subscribe. Send this to your dogs, divorced moms, uncles, ferret.
Nailed it.
And until then,
Peace.
Wu-Tang.